ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशेऽर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया.
O Arjuna, the Lord resides in the hearts of all beings, making all beings whirl by Maya, the elusive power, like seated on a machine. So what he's saying here is action. Let's take a look at action. Where does it come from? The source of action, as we've seen earlier, is vasana. Vasana manifests as a thought in the intellect. That thought in the intellect manifests, consolidates as a desire in the mind, and that desire naturally transforms into action. Now this is true of both individuals as well as collective, universal. So, you are what you are because of your vasanas. You are a consolidated version of your insubstantial vasanas. This is true of the world. So just as the individual is dictated by vasanas, the collective, the whole world is what it is because of our collective vasanas. So the total vasanas of all the people in the world determine the thoughts of the people. The total thoughts determine the total desires and therefore actions. Therefore it is that there is terrorism in the world. There is terrorism in the world because each one of us is entertaining hateful emotions, negative emotions. And this is coming about because we have hateful thoughts. And these hateful thoughts are coming because we all have hateful vasanas. But you can bring about a change by educating, going down to the very root. And when you bring about a change in your vasanas, you'll bring about a change in the world. Therefore it is that the responsibility for changing the world lies with each one of us. The other day, there was a lady who came to one of the classes and said, "But terrorism disturbs me. What can we do about it?" Or is it that we are victims of it and we can't do anything about it? He said, no, we can. Each one of us, if we root out hatred and the separatism and negative emotions from our hearts, society will change. So, individual and universal, what makes you act, the quality of your actions is determined by vasanas. Therefore, he says, when he says Ishvara, Lord, he's not talking about God, he's talking about vasanas. So the world is what it is because of vasanas, individual and total. Then what's the role of God? Consciousness or God or Atman is merely the facilitator. It enlivens the vasanas to manifest as thoughts, desires and actions. That's all it does. And therefore, because of the vasanas, you have this elusive power called Maya. Maya literally means that which is not, which means what you're seeing out there is not for real. It's a projection. You believe that all of us are seeing the same world. Totally wrong. In the same city, in the same area here, Juhu, there are thousands of people living. Each one lives in a world of his own. There is a student who lives in a student's world. There is a sports person who lives in a sporting world. There is a stockbroker who lives in a stockbroking world. And there is a terrorist who lives in a terrorist world. So you create your own world because of your vasanas, and it's Maya. It's not there. It's not for real. It's a projection of your vasanas. So if you want your world to change, you can't go directly out there and change it. Why? Because it's not there. What must you do? Change your thoughts. And your world will instantly change. So, the role of God is like that of petrol in a car. Petrol has no desire to get anywhere. Petrol has nothing to do with the quality of driving. The performance of the car is driven by the engine, not the fuel. And fuel is not responsible for the quality of the drive. The role of God in life is like that of electricity in a gadget. It is the same electricity, the same specifications that runs through different gadgets, but it causes a different manifestation. When it functions through a fan, it causes motion. When the same electricity functions in a washing machine, it cleans clothes. When the same electricity functions through a computer, it has a totally different manifestation. Electricity being one, the manifestations are different because the gadgets through which it functions is different. God is like a catalyst in a chemical reaction. You know why we're giving so many? Because all together might mean something to you. In a chemical reaction, those of you who remember chemistry, there are some reactions which do not take place unless there is a catalyst present. The catalyst is an entity that does not take part in the reaction, yet without the catalyst the reaction does not take place. And so is it with God. When you go to a puppet show held for children, you see all the little tiny tots there. Look at the puppets, the whole show, and get completely enamored with it. They're carried away by the story, the theme of the puppets. Then there are older children. And the older children say, look at the young ones with a very arrogant attitude and say, what are you getting carried away by the puppets? There's the string there. And the adult who's organized the puppet show enjoys the whole thing because he knows that there is a puppeteer whose skills enable the entire puppet show to take place. Similarly, we are children in life. We get carried away by the puppets that are moving around in life. When are you going to gain the maturity to understand that there is a puppeteer who enables this entire show? Then you become objective, sakshi bhav, and learn to enjoy the puppet show because your focus is on the skill and the expertise of the puppeteer. Next verse.